What's up, comic book junkies? Old man, Nighttiger in the comic room. Mike Smith, actually, your host here at YouTube, whatever you call this, I don't know. Welcome to the Saturday morning show. Shout out to Library 88 for the title. We got to give him some credit for a couple weeks till we got to ease him out of his fame. So, I did a new intro. I want you guys to tell me which one you liked better, this one or the one from last week, because I actually like this one better. Captain Caveman!
From banana bits and a man.
The mild-mannered janitor.
Could be. Number one super guy.
Hey, what's up, Doc? What's cooking? What's up, Doc?
What else? Oh, great comments that you guys are offering here, suggestions, all kinds of stuff. I'm having fun doing this. It seems like you guys are having fun watching. And, for me, there's just nothing better than just a straight show me some cool comics and keep me entertained away from all the stuff going on in the world. Got one of these Batman 66 from the original package cards. I think my son bought it. He bought it for me for a gift for $8 from the flea market. $8. I didn't want to tell him it was too expensive, but he was happy to get it for me. So. We bonded over Batman. He loves Batman. Batman Returns, his favorite movie. He's sculpting characters and making a diorama above his workspace at his house. He sent me a picture yesterday. Dad, look, I bought a new whip for my Catwoman. I'm like, that's my son. Here we have Chewy. So I took a couple things off the shelf. I like to peruse, as Jerry the Jitterbug says, flea markets and look for just oddball, cool kind of action figures you don't see too often. And usually I set my mark at $1. If it's a really cool one, I go up to maybe $4 or $5. So I'm always looking for the dollar. They have the dollar bin, with all the action figures thrown in, and you're just digging through. And I'm always looking for that odd character, like maybe a Golden Age Green Lantern or Firestorm, just the odd, because Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they make millions of that stuff. Star, used to throw a lot of stars when I was in high school. Did nunchucks. We were into Bruce Lee movies and stuff. I practiced out in the backyard. I found this at a flea market for $5. This thing is pristine. It doesn't even have a scratch on it. I haven't been able to figure out anything about it. I know it's got to be at least 1980s or older. Maybe early 90s, but there's no markings on it. It says made in China and that's it, but it's all metal. So, it's cool. I grew up with this kind of toys. If you can find this stuff, these metal toys like this from the 70s, 80s, and they're unmarked, untouched, people pay premium for them. But I just thought I'd keep it, look cool. So what else do I got back here? Remember this? You go get the Bazooka Joe gum. I did a documentary. Actually, the people that own the property now, I actually emailed them and said, I'd like to do a small documentary on your product, on the history of it. And they gave me permission. So I was cool. I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Call up so I don't infringe on copyright. And they said, well, when you're done, let us know. We put it in our newsletter. They got like 100,000 people. I don't know how many videos it got. It didn't seem like they ever did put it in their newsletter, but it's up there on YouTube. It's pretty good. Some of my early editing work. This is my first and only arrowhead that I ever found. Supposedly, where I work in Alabama, I never explore the place. I just go up to work and then I go back to Florida. Maybe go to the grocery store. But supposedly they have like a waterfall or a cave like within a mile from where I work where people find hundreds and hundreds of arrowheads. Anyways, we got a Batmobile here. I used to have a black one, and my granddaughter came over and claimed it, so I gave it to her. These are 5 and below. But comic books. Okay, so I've been seeing this one a lot this week in videos. I actually haven't put the info on here. So I gotta go do that. I forget the artist's name. Just a great. I found this for 35 cents. So I was at my LCS and he put together like cheap packs, like 20 bucks, 10 books for $10 or something like that. I mean, for $2. You know, these little mystery packs. And I picked one up and I saw this on the back. I'm like, I hope you don't see that. So I got 6 books for $2. This was in there. But I felt bad and I went back and the next week and I gave him 10 bucks. But really cool cover. What number is this? So this is Punisher 102. It says who the artist is. Frank. You guys probably know more than I do. Got a subscription crease in. Other than that, it's really nice. So technically, I paid 35 cents for it. Officially, I paid $10.35 for it. That was back in like 2018 or something like that. I'm discovering, going through the collection. Oh, another question. What do you guys think about the Saturday show? Do you want it to be like a half hour instead of 15 minutes? Because if you watch, I'll do half hours. I'm just trying to keep everything between 15 and 20 minutes, you know, because people's attention spans are not long. But as I'm mylaring and reboarding the collection, I'm getting more appreciation for the reprint titles. How important they were in our childhood, that we could get a glimpse into the past of comic books, you know, without the price. And then learn about early Marvel and get excited. That's how a lot of reprints when I was a kid, they were like a quarter. They were like throwaway books. It's like the mom and pops, they didn't even want those books. They were like pretty much trash. And now people relish in them. That's the first part of the Death of Gwen Stacy. So I was happy when I found these two for $1. I was like, man, I get to read this classic for $1 and smell some newsprint. What is that? Marvel Tales number 98 from December 78. This one I pulled this off the wall. One of my favorite books. I actually got really lucky on eBay and got this for, what did I pay for this? So with shipping, I paid $65 for this really decent copy. It's probably a 6.5 maybe. And I've been trying to even find the reprint one from number 83, or I forget what the reprint one is. And that book even goes for more than what I paid for this one. Great story, great cover. First appearance of the Changeling, second appearance of the Banshee. And there's just a great letter in here from a fan to the editor asking about one of Jack Kirby's villains that he just created, Eunice. And the editor didn't know anything about it, made fun of him. Basically, like, we don't have a character that's too close to this sounding, you know. And it was funny because I'm thinking the editor, they just created the character like 2 years earlier. I did a video on it. I think it's still up. Pick this up. This has a bug chew straight on through. A really tiny little hole. You can't even see it. And this is, I bought this from, what's her name? Onyx Amanda, I think her name is. And she has great prices on Golden Age books. And they call this a 4.0, and it really looks nice. This is from 1948. I paid up for this book $182 in shipping and tax because this grade usually goes for about $300, $320. So I thought I got a pretty good deal on that. It's a beautiful book. I believe it's a Jack Kamen cover. I didn't note it on the back. But yeah, baby. JoJo's like the low end of the Jungle Books. Like, if you want to get a great cover for the least amount of money, you know, JoJo's the place to go, because Jungle Book and or Jungle Comics and Jumbo Comics are more expensive for the really classic good girls. So JoJo's like the low man hanging fruit for us collectors. But don't get me wrong, there's some beautiful covers in there. Oh, what do you guys think? I cut my own hair. I saved 25 bucks. I can spend it on comics. I got a couple Golden Age Westerns. Now, this one I put on my list. This is a while ago. I haven't been shopping on eBay. And I went on my comic shop this week and I found a killer pre-code horror book. And I had to borrow the money until I make some on the side, because I can't use my paycheck. So a good friend, I'll reveal who that is once I get the book, lent me the money, and you know, it's cool. So I'll pay him back this week, but it's a really cool pre-code horror, and it was like 80 bucks with shipping and tax. But so I was going to say, I have books I would put on my watch list, you know, of course on eBay, we all do. But this book was there for a while, and I kept, every time I would think of a book, I'd think of this cover because it was so good that I couldn't get this book out of my mind. So eventually I finally broke down and got it. That glares. It really sucks. That's a great graphic right there. I didn't know who the artist was. I did read this and was good, and the splash page is the same as the cover. But this was $35 shipped. A really cool book. This is 29 from 1951. But one of my all-time favorite Westerns that I got off eBay, this really, really scarce last issue of Jimmy Wakely. A lot of collectors are looking for this one to complete the run. It is. I have to imagine the print run was pretty low. Here they're trying to rip off the Ghost Rider maybe to boost the sales, but this is the last issue. And it's funny. It's from 1952. When I got it, I was in communications with the seller trying to negotiate the price down. I think he had 80 and I offered him 50 and he went back with 60. But as we were talking, he asked me if I was from my YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Because, you know, it's a small community for Golden Age collectors. Great book, Gil Kane cover, The Phantom Brander. What a name. But every time I show this or post it, people are like, I've been looking for that one for years. So that's a coffin book. Making a little diagram and trying to figure out how many books I can line my coffin with before you can't shut the door anymore. That's going in there. Another great title. There's a channel I've been watching. I can't remember the name, but he's been showcasing series that are easy to collect in Bronze Age. Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man Incredible Hulk. This is my favorite era because John Byrne is drawing the interiors. And it's a Gil Kane cover, and it's from 1977. Marvel Team Up, number, what did I say, 54. Tell me in the comments below, what percentage do you think that you've completed in the Marvel Team Up run? So I was talking about reprint titles. Marvel Tales is a good one. That's an original cover. So I like a lot of times when most of the time they have like a rework of the original cover, but every now and then they'll have a completely original cover for the reprints, which I really like. 1976, John Romita on the cover. Gil Kane Interiors reprints ASM 89. Whoa, look at that Spider-Man. He looks so cool. Great graphic. Great graphic, man. Okay, so this is a reprint of the first Hammerhead, which I do have. Which is not on the cover. You could never tell this was first appearance of Hammerhead. But it's a gang war, I guess, storyline. And this reprints ASM 113 from October 72. John Romita on the cover, interiors, June 78 reprint title. How do you feel about reprints? Let me know in the comments. Give me some great comments. Maybe I can do a show on just reprints and what you guys think about it.
Heads up, guys.
That's it?
Falcon coming in fast.
All right.
All right. Let's see what this thing can do.
These were on clearance at Walmart for $5. I used to have the Hulk one, and I gave it to Simon Comics when I went and met up with him, and I got it from Ollie's, and it was a Hulk. It was like huge for $10. And once I bought it and went home, I'm like, I should have bought them all because that was a great price. I had never been able to find them that cheap, and went back, they were all gone. What are we still on? Marvel Tales? This is a great cover right here. That is just a great cover. You wouldn't even need that word bubble. It just tells the story. Great cover. That's John Romita again. And that's from ASM 146. This is from January 1981. And in the Grand Database, they denote the newsstand, so I'll say it. It makes me laugh when people get all excited for a 1982 book. Newsstand, it's a newsstand. And, you know, I laugh. Here's a cool one. Marvel Team Up number 5. First Monstroid. Gil Kane cover. Oh, yeah. I like my books tight. There's like two boards in here. And a nice tight bag on that baby. I love it. I love Mylar. I love the sound. I like when people are doing videos and they're like, you're talking to you and they're crumpling Mylar down here and I get goosebumps. I'm like, ooh. So anyways, cool cover. Spider-Man Vision. What is that? 10th anniversary boxed. Look at that trade dress on there. That looks so cool, man. You saw it on a newsstand, it'd be like candy, Mom. Mommy, let me get that. And then look at the colors on this one. Starlin cover. Man, Jim Starlin, man, he does very few covers, but they're always so cool. This is from 1974. Marvel Team Up number 27. Jim Mooney on the interior art. Nice looking Hulk, man. Look at his teeth. Oh, yeah. This is the stuff we collected as kids, and we're still collecting as big kids. So I had a bunch of books. Like, I went through my collection, like, picking out books for you guys for the videos. And then I would, I got to press this one, this one. So here's one of the books I had to press. Isn't that a great book? I think Bill Comic Mag Musings just showed this one. Or maybe I'm wrong. I think it was this one. This has a Captain Dracula story in it. And Whim of Photon. Sheldon Mayer art. Sheldon Mayer writing. Tony Badazinga art. October 73. Weird War. Do you collect Weird War? Tell me in the comments. I love Weird War. Every time I see it at Red War, if it's under $5, it's mine. So I took some, if you can see empty space, probably not, but wall books. These were in those Proline bags, and they had to all rebag the whole bottom wall of wall books. So first appearance of Booster Gold, and Booster Gold number 1, 1988. It's a direct copy. This has first Booster Gold, first Skeets Robot Sidekick, first Blackguard, first Trixie Collins, first cameo Mind Dancer, Dan Jurgens on the cover, scripts and interiors. I've never read this. I haven't read this yet, and I've had this a good 4 or 5 years maybe. Yeah, I was getting it probably right before COVID. Things were getting hot, books were going up. So I found this, and where did I get this? 50-cent bin. So this is Warlord number 2. I found the whole run in the 50-cent bin except for number 1. And I bought, I think, everything up to number 30, and then after that, just all the minor keys. I just love the trade dress on this. Mike Grell, I don't know. I don't. His art kind of rubs me the wrong way, but I know he's such a great writer. Never a fan of his art. His art is mostly it's hit and miss, but mostly it's miss for me. But that's just my opinion. We're all different. But I think that cover looks cool. Wow, we got a lot of DC in here. So, wow, we're at 21 minutes. I hate to rush. These books have to be enjoyed. So here we have a Louis Dominguez cover. A Jerry Tylock is on interior. Never heard of him. Phantom Stranger number 30, 1974. Again, another great looking book. Oof. Nice horror. Look how they lined up the bridge, and it looks like the kids are walking over his back. That is a great cover. That's from 1974. All right. Ooh, we got a modern book here. Are you kidding me? What am I looking for? Oh, I didn't show this. This is stuff I have in my comic room. My hunting knife, camping knife. It's got something on it. Just laying over there, I said, hey, let me show that in the video. I just think it's a cool knife. I picked it up at a yard sale. It's a Remington. And, you can take it in the water. It's got a rubber handle. So anytime I find a good knife at a yard sale for $1, the old cheap man will buy it. Oh, we got a modern comic here? What the heck? So a Michael Turner cover. I think I have 2 copies of this. This was the the early days of Key Collector, So it's like you could still find books people didn't know how much they were worth. Or, before the big key culture. So that was like in the days where some people did, some didn't. You could still find good stuff all the time. And now it's like you can barely find it because everybody's got access. They know, just go to the internet, type it in. But great cover. That's from 2004. So he died. Wow, he died in 2008 at the age of 37 from bone cancer. So I would like to find a second print of this because the center print is all red in the back instead of black. Michael Turner. And then here, this I just thought was a cool Joker cover. Alex Sebek, is that how you say his name? Joker Phantom Stranger, number 72, DC Comics presents. Nice colors, beautiful. It's a great thing about collecting comics. There's like so many cool ones. You can't even find them all. Oh, we're drinking. I get these up in northern Alabama. I can't find them anywhere else, but it's the only energy drink I know that tastes just like Welch's grape soda. It is so good. Neil Adams cover. Great, like full cover art. And it's Neil Adams, so the detail is reminds me that yesterday we had a 20 car pileup on the interstate, and we only live a mile, not even a mile from the interstate. And the funny thing is, I got on the interstate to go in town right around 3 o'clock, and that's when they had the first accident, and there were like 6 cars tangled up, and so I got off the ramp really quick. But we tried to go in town and take our neighbor shopping. It took us everywhere you went because they were rerouting the southbound. There was traffic like all the way out of town. It was unbelievable. Here I have, oh, this is cool. This is a book I found in the dollar bin. It's a #1. Obviously it's independent, from July 1984, but it's Barry Windsor Smith. It's #1. What is it? Pathways to Fantasy by Pacific Comics. Great cover. And then the writings by Bruce Jones, and Bruce Jones is a great writer. He likes to write realistic, and I've never read anything bad by him yet. So cool cover, Barry Windsor Smith painted cover, Pathways to, what did I say, Fantasy. I love going to flea markets and finding boxes of this 80s independent stuff, because there was a lot of good stuff out. Where are we at? Okay, we're probably going to do a half hour here because I just thought this was a great cover. Who does this cover? Rich Buckler. It's just got all these eyes, like, you know, shooting lightning bolts at Superboy. And it's got that nice blurb up here from Dial H from Hero, which I always loved. I love that concept. This is from 1982. And I thought it was a cool cover. I like Superboy. I grabbed all these New Adventures ones that in the same shop at a different time. They bought a collection. They were 50 cents a piece for all those Superboy New Adventures from the 80s. I bought all of them. Okay, so this was the one I had to press. This was an AOK from my buddy Steve Codwell. It's really low grade, but I did take the spine roll out and then I pressed it, and it looks great. My Kaluta cover. And I've always toyed with getting a high grade. They're not expensive. You can get a high grade 7.580 for $12, which I recommend. I should get it. And then this one okay, so here's the comics that I bought. I stopped at a shop. I did a video, I don't know how many, couple months ago. I went to this new shop. What's it called? Grand Slam Collectibles. They had like 50 long boxes, all the $1. They had back inventory that they were bringing out eventually. And I stopped in there a few times, got some pretty decent stuff. Then I went in there last time and there were no comics. There was one short box. And the guy said someone came in and they paid $70 for every long box that he had. I'm like, wow. So you can't pass that up. So someone had sold them a short box, and they were like minor keys, and they were all $2, and they were all high grade. So before we get into those, I picked this up. So I have let me leave this here for a minute. I bought the issue before last week, or a couple weeks ago. This was $6. Nice copy there. And I know about these. I read them. Most of the time it's formulaic story. You know how it's going to end. But there was a really good story in this one. And it was a continued. I was like, dang it. So I knew they had the next issue, which is right here. So I said, okay. So when I went in, I traded comics to get Bags and Boards. I threw this in too. So they said, well, they want to sit there and go through the whole box and then price it, take a couple hours. And I'm like, why don't you just do a straight trade? And they're like, well, what do you want? So I tell them, and usually I can't tell if I'm screwing myself or not, because what I think they're worth, I go and get in Bags and Boards or a comic or whatever, and they're like, okay, that sounds fair. So either I'm undercut myself or maybe I'm handle it like balance. I don't know. But anyways, so I haven't read it yet. So it's in here, that story. I can't wait. It's about this soldier. He's in the past. He came from the future. And there's like this porthole. It's in a department store way underground. and it's really cool. So, anyways, that was Weird War number 44, the continuation. So that was I think this was, how much was this? This was $6. And it's a pretty decent copy. We're talking 5.5, something like that, maybe. Anyways, but this is high grade. So these were $2. And I had this, so definitely an upgrade. My other one's a direct. This is a newsstand. Obviously, some cameo appearances in here of Apocalypse, Alliance of Evil. And yeah, it was $2, and it's a really, really nice copy. So all the books in this short box, there were probably 3/4 of them minor keys or even keys. They were all $2. And the owner came by and he says, well, convince me they're $1. And I said, well, you want me to sing and dance? And he's like, no, that's good. So I'm like, okay, well, I tried to convince you. Here was one of the books in here. It's a pretty nice copy. Probably an 8.0, 8.5 maybe. But this is The Death of Jean DeWolf, a female police detective, and Rich Buckler cover. That was $2. That's a nice copy of that. I didn't have it. They had the whole set of these, and actually the other 3 had like a rust on the bottom staple, but this one didn't. And this is Rawhide Kid. This story takes place in 1897. You got a John Byrne cover. Herb Trimpe on the interior art from 1985. I'm a Western fan. This is probably one of the last times we'll see Rawhide Kid on newsprint. So Rawhide Kid number 1, $2. John Byrne cover. That's what it sold me. That's what put me over the, because I had limited money. Had to go to the LCS because I had to get 2 bags of Mylar, 2 things of boards. So I'm like, I stopped at this shop and I'm like, I can only spend a limited amount, so I only spent $10. But I got some good stuff. This is an upgrade, and this is this is a newsstand, and this is a nice copy. Classic X-Men number 1, and this actually has some original material added onto the giant size X-Men number 1. So that's cool. And this is also an Arthur Adams cover. Another cool thing about it, and it was $2. Classic X-Men. Nice copy. I'm telling you. I couldn't leave. I did leave some stuff, but like this one here, this is a pretty nice. Well, this is probably a 4.550, maybe a 50. I don't know. X-Men 166, first appearance of Lockheed. Newsstand. Obviously. Double-sized issue. Death of the Brood Queen. Paul Smith on the cover, interior, and Chris Claremont on scripts. So for $2, X-Men issue I didn't have, and a first appearance, I'll take it. Where are we at? 33 minutes, guys. Okay, I got 4 more books. These are all the $2 books. So these are the last of them. So here, I just thought this was cool. It was from 1987. And it is from Blackthorn Publishing. The 3D series number 30. But it's actually, it says Star Wars number 1 on the book. And that was a Glenn Johnson cover. Wouldn't you take that for $2? 1987. Looks really cool. The glasses weren't with it, unfortunately. But I know I have 3D glasses somewhere. Star Wars number 1, 1987. Come on. Get with it. Okay, another key. I don't know in what level key it is or nothing like that, but first appearance of the Terminator in comic books. From number 1 from September 1988. So for $2, nice high grade new stuff. I'll take it. And this time the directs were more popular. Can't wait to read. That's a nice cover. Yeah, I thought that was. I knew about this book, but I didn't think I'd ever find it in a dollar bin, to tell you the truth. And there it is. There it is. I did. Okay, let me know in the comments. Oh, and am I giving off like a glare? Do I need to wear a hat? Tell me these things. I need to develop the show. Okay, that's too big to show right now. Just the Bronze Age Batman I didn't have from June '86. Gene Colan cover, Return of Two-Face. And I didn't have that issue. I'm really trying to complete from 1980 to like 1986. For me, that was the era that I grew up in. The art writing and the artists are really good. Era Batman. For me, especially Don Newton on the art. Okay, this was an upgrade and a newsstand also. And this is a really nice copy because this is a giant size annual. So obviously Arthur Adams homaging the first appearance of Thor by Jack Kirby. So this is the first appearance of the Stormcaster, created by Loki and given to Storm. $2. Nice high grade copy. Arthur Adams cover. I'll take it. Okay, last book, and we went way over. This is going to be the Saturday morning classic show. I thought this was, it looks like a bubblegum cover to me. The He-Man. So this is the first time that Marvel gets the He-Man and the He-Man of the Universe, Masters of the Universe licensing. So technically, this is the first time they publish them. Since it's not a comic book, it wouldn't be first time in comics. So that was $2. May 1986, Marvel Age number 38. That is, it's not a haul. That's the stack of books for Saturday. What do you guys think? I'm not going to keep you here that long because you've already been here too long. Go enjoy your families. There, your addiction's satisfied.